Hi. Everything you see on this table is connected through the Audiofuse through this one cable to this iPad, and it could have been a computer for all intents and purposes. Let me explain what's going on. I'm using a sequencer on the iPad that's connected through the cable to the Audiofuse via a MIDI out to the Moog Mother 32, which I can play around with once I've completed my sequence. This MIDI keyboard is connected via a USB hub in the Audiofuse back into my iPad. I can use the knob on my 8-in, 8-out ADAT interface to which the Mother 32 is plugged in to adjust its volume. I'm playing the KORG iWaveStation virtual synth into Quantiloop in order to loop it. I'll take my EBow, go to my guitar, which is plugged into input number 1 of the Audiofuse, and run through the bias amp effect using Audiobus on the iPad. In the background here, you see a condenser microphone, which is also connected to another port on the Audiofuse. Let me bring it up front. The microphone is then routed from Audiofuse into the iPad through Audiobus into a vocoder app, and if I raise the volume, here's a layout, by the way, of everything that's going on inside the iPad. If you want to learn more about this, just hit subscribe and like, and I'll be doing another video about this later on. But for now, I want to focus on the Audiofuse, because computers and certainly iPads have less and less ports, and the Audiofuse is a refreshing change in that regard. This thing has a button for almost every function, a port for every input or output, and let's cover that and see what this thing is about. So let's start with the exterior. The Audiofuse is made of rugged aluminum. It has leather detail that you can order in one of a few colors. The case protects it very well, so you can throw it in a bag and take it with you. And when it's on your desk, you can take the case, slide it under the Audiofuse, and it snaps in really nicely. This thing is really, really tiny. It seems like every bit of the interface is packed with some knob or input or output. I love the fact that the control knobs are on top and not on the front. I used to have an interface, I won't name names, where the knobs were in the front and a little bit hard to see and reach. Here, everything is on top. You've got 2 professional grade combo inputs in the front, and headphone outs support both sizes of headphone jacks. Thank you very much. On the back, 2 line inputs, one of which can be converted to instrument. Alongside the 2 inputs, 2 speaker A and B outputs, phono level inputs for your vinyl, inserts for channels 1 and 2, DC and USB power, a 3-port USB hub, MIDI in and out, SPDIF in and out, and ADAT in and out for an additional up to 8 channels, both in and out. The MIDI ins and outs are those small jacks, so you get in the box these 2 cables, plug them in, and you've got a standard 5-pin MIDI in and out. Beside the AC adapter, you also get a special USB cable that on the one end looks normal, but on the other end actually has 2 USB jacks. So if you've got a power brick like this one laying around the house, you can plug one of the USB jacks in and power the unit just with that. Now the Audiofuse can work on USB power from a Mac or a PC, but it can't with an iPad or an iPhone, or if you want to use it as a standalone portable mixer, you can use a power brick. If being portable isn't important to you, just use the AC adapter. But if portability is important to you, just plug it in and your phone will automatically detect all 14 inputs and outputs. On top, this knob lets you gradually move between 0 latency monitoring and listening to your signal as it is coming out of your iPad or PC. You've got a nice big output level knob, and the lights will show you your levels when you're not turning the knob. You can choose to output any one of the 3 buses, Q1, Q2, or the main. You've got dedicated mono, dim, and mute buttons, and you can easily toggle between speakers A and B. Each of the two front input channels have automatic input detection, 48-volt phantom power, phase invert, pad, and an instrument button. A big gain knob is easily accessible. Each of the two phone outs have a mono mode, also let you select between each of the three buses, Q1, 2, and main, and they have their own volume control. The talkback button lets you speak to the people wearing the headphones via a microphone built into the unit. This button is a nice shortcut to open up the Audiofuse Control Center software. This is PC or Mac software that lets you control a few additional configuration options that you can't on the device itself. This middle part here basically replicates the device, so there's not much to say here. This section lets you choose whether inputs 3 and 4 will use the phono jacks or the regular line jacks. And this button lets you choose instrument level for input 3. Again, I won't go over all the features, just give you some highlights. This section lets you control where the talkback goes to. Mix routing lets you route the mix to the main output, Q1 or Q2. You've got pan controls in this section for all your inputs. Levels and soloing and muting are available as well. You can link levels together if you like, but still have individual panning control. This section lets you configure settings for digital inputs and outputs, as well as some other miscellaneous features. I don't want to bore you too much with the specs. You can go and read this online. You can control the sample rate. One cool feature that exists here is the speaker B control, where rather than having either speaker A or speaker B active, you can choose to have them both active and set different levels and different EQs even for each and every one of them. There's also a reamp feature which lets you take a recording and send it out at instrument level to an external amp. You also have a ground lift feature to eliminate hum if you have that. In terms of preferences, I won't go over all the options here. I'll just touch one, which is a power mode selection option. If you leave it on auto, you'll be fine, but the unit does tend to get a little bit hot. If you don't need to use any of the inputs, you can put it on mix down or mix down green, but otherwise you can just leave it as is. I actually left the unit on for a whole week. It does get a little bit hot, but it just stays warm, and that's pretty much it. One final note, this software isn't available, at least yet, for iPads or iPhones, so if you want to make any configurations, you'll need a Mac or a PC, and then you can take the interface and connect it to a phone and take it from there. So what's the conclusion? Arturia calls this thing an audio interface, but it's really more of a Swiss Army knife of mobile music production. It's got pretty much any tool you can think of. You can hook it up to plenty of inputs and outputs in your studio, and like a Swiss Army knife, you can fold it up and take it away. It's a premium product and it comes at a premium price. But if flexibility and connectivity are important to you, especially in a small package, then this might be the right production companion for you. If you have any questions about the Audiofuse or anything else you saw in this video, how things were connected, what the heck is an EBO and what was it doing to my guitar, or anything else, hit me up in the comments. Happy to answer. Please hit like if you like this video, hit subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for watching.